Assalamu alaikum, shalom, hotep, salam Allah. Peace to the guys and nurse. I'm your brother in the struggle, brother Minister Ali. And today we're going to cover part 3 of the series I did on the messenger teachings on in the future getting out of the temples and mosques. I received a response from a good brother. It's no need to give his name and nothing like that. Good brother, but he critiqued my video on the subject, and he basically took the position that we basically need temples. We still need temples and mosques, if you will. And even though he disagreed with me, I respect his critique because he raises some valid and good arguments. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share with y'all word for word what he presented me with, and I'll answer it. And I'm gonna share with y'all my brief response. Then I'm gonna go into the video to give clarification, because when I teach, I'm teaching from the perspective of trying to make you not really look at me. In the future, my intention is to try to have a structure where all you're going to see is like a professional movie. I'm still learning the ropes, you know what I mean? I'm a dinosaur with technology, as you can see. But I master things once I get the system in place. So in my head, I'm getting all this stuff together, and I'm doing a trillion other things on the side. But inshallah, Sakeem, we're going to make that happen. But really what I'd like to do is like if I'm talking about Master Muhammad and born in the holy city, I want to show you the holy city Mecca. I want to show you a black Muslim calling it Don. You know what I mean? If I'm talking about Yaqub, I want to take you on the island of P-Land, show you, you know what I mean, the caves on P-Land, how the volcanic eruptions took place over there and burnt stuff up, all the ancient artifacts they found over there. You know what I mean? So I like the science. And I realize and respect spirituality. I'm a spiritual person. I believe I'm a spiritual person. I'm not anti-spirituality, but I am anti-spookism. I'm definitely not anti-temple or mosque. I'm I ain't even gonna say anti. It's not that I'm anti-temple or mosque. I'm pro the people. I'm pro you realizing, like, okay, you go to temple, you go to church, you go to the cathedral, the synagogue, the mosque, the masjid, the university. I'm like, cool. I'm a respecter of choice. Now, I mean, meaning, you know, I believe in free will. If you move according to your level of belief, your knowledge, your wisdom, your understanding, your experiences, your needs. Now, I mean, so I'm not trying to attack anyone or slander anyone. I'm simply trying to get you to realize, not me, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad himself. I read to y'all word for word what the messenger said. He himself is like, listen, in the future, it's not going to be ran like it is in 1972. It's not going to be ran by the local temples or mosques. That's just you can't argue. You got to argue with Elijah Muhammad. That's what he envisioned. He envisioned you being a god over your own home. A lot of people believe in Allah in the sky somewhere. Now, I mean, they believe in all kind of supernatural things. Now, I mean, they you know. But my thing is, okay, belief and knowledge are different. Now, we know what the messenger taught. I mean, so this is so as opposed to getting mad at me or arguing with me, you gotta look at, well, damn, the messenger did say that. I mean, so what you have to do on your side is actually explain the messenger teachings according to your level of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know what I mean? So I stand to be corrected on anything. But the thing is that when I quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad word for word, tell you where he said it, even often when he said it, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get you to look at the messenger's message to guide us through this age of mess. Not me, not your minister, not your captain, not your secretary, not holding on to any branches of the Nation of Islam. I don't claim no branches. I'm universal with the teachers. My thing is, I love the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan. I love the Honorable Brother Salas Muhammad, Jeremiah Shabazz, Brother Mr. Levi Kareem, Brother Mr. Almuta Kwan, the 5% Father of Law, Afrocentricity, Noble Drew Ali. And in my office, I got Salas Muhammad right there, Father-in-law right there, Doctor. I got Asad Shakur, I got Maroon, I got Public Enemy up there, the continent of Africa, the 5%. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The Honorable Minister Farrakhan at the Sister Clara. You know what I mean? My thing is, if it's black, I'm with that. You know what I mean? You know, that's basically it. My thing is like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, even if white scholars. You know what I mean? You know, Gerald Macy, whatever. Anybody that is trying to present knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, share freedom, justice, and equality, hey, you count me in. You know what I mean? I sit at your feet. I get on the mic, spark you, whatever. You know what I mean? We can build. Okay, so the brother says, Assalamu alaikum, my beloved brother. Pray all is well. Why is temples need more than ever? I'm assuming that when he say why is temple need more than ever, he basically saying like why we need temples more than ever. You know what I mean? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was commissioned by Allah God to establish Islam here in North America. One of the pillars of Islam was to have a place where black people can congregate among themselves and hear a teaching that would transform their lives. Hence, the temples of Islam were born. In the temples, black men, women, and children were taught the knowledge of themselves, knowledge of their enemy, rules and regulations on how to live a civilized life. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us temple means place of learning, and indeed learning and transformation was taking place. To say we longer need, I guess he's saying, to say we no longer need temples is to say America don't need K through 12 education or higher level of education like Harvard or Yale, or Arabia does not need Al-Azhar University, one of the oldest universities in the world, dating back over 1,000 years. We see where people who lack education, lack guidance and knowledge, which brings forth to what we witness in our community currently. Violence, hatred among ourselves, our women being violated by everyone, even themselves. In Muhammad temples, the quality of people it produced was like no other. Our men was industrious, our women were virtuous, we honored and respected one another, we were growing beautifully internally and externally. Muslims had a glow like never seen before, and all this was a product of Muhammad temples. Also, the temples served as a structured system with designed dates and times. I guess it meant designated dates and times, and took place whether a family could not make it or not due to work or other family situations. To say we do not need these places of learning any longer is gross error, which should be re-examined by those of the Muslims that propagate this foolishness. We need temples more than ever, and we need those of us that want to see change help in re-establishing them. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the best lesson in leadership is be the example you want to see. Let us all learn from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and do something for ourselves. Beautiful, I mean, critique, you know what I mean? Respectful, honest, you know what I mean? Assertive. I love and appreciate it, you know what I mean? I would, you know what I mean? I would basically take issue with, you know what I mean? Like, okay, say we got temples all over America, which we do. Say we got mosques or temples, mosques, churches, universities, we still have slavery, suffering, and death in 2022. We still have the myriad of all the things that these places are struggling to fight against. And my thing is, I'm not against organized religions or temples or mosques or churches, what have you. My video simply wanted you to realize, like, not just from me, ancient scholars like the Temple of Man, the Bible, the Hadiths, what have you. In fact, let me read you. I sent him a brief response a couple of minutes ago. I told him, I said, 76 trillion years ago, we had no tribe or temples on earth. Homeschooling is better than so-called public schooling. I read word for word why the messenger said after him we would not go to a mosque or temple. He clearly said we have been brought face to face with God himself. The master taught in basements, living rooms, etc. We're not anti-place. We are simply elevating our people to realize they are the real temple or mosque. So, my niyat or intent was not to attack those that believe in religious services in a temple or a mosque. It was to add on to the cipher, if you will. Now, I mean, it was. In fact, let me read something to you from the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan himself. I mean, because what I'm teaching you, I personally, as a student who literally sat at the feet of the teachings of Master Farrakhan Muhammad and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the teachings of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, the teachings of Salas Muhammad, the teachings of the 5%, the teachings of Noble Drew, the teachings of Marcus Garvey, the teachings of Denmark Vesey and Nat Turner and the Maroons and the Pan-Africans and the Black Panthers. It's no limit to it. Now, I mean, my foundation lies firmly with those that strove and sacrificed and struggled for peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality. And what happens is 99% of it's like rappers. I don't really write my raps, as they say. It's like whenever you see me doing, it's like I don't even know I'm going to do a video. I might have razor bumps on my jaw. Like right now, I need a haircut. You know what I mean? You know, I could dress up and put on my suit, my bow ties. You know what I mean? You know, I got that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like I'm more of a pastor than an evangelist. You know what I mean? I'm like the, you know what I mean? I'm like more underground than above ground, if you will. My thing is like, it's not, as the message put it, he's like, it's not how I say it, it's what I'm saying that should be important to you. You know what I mean? And what I would like for people to get from these videos is, what is he saying that the messenger said? Did the messenger really say that? Oh, shit, the messenger really did say that. Okay. I either have to accept his premise or modify it, tweak it, whatever. Now I mean, but I just want you to elevate and look deeper into the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now I mean, I would like to share a quote from the Holy Seven Speeches of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now I mean, this brother, the introduction to the seven speeches from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Brother Sterling X, New York City, February 1974. I personally got to build with this brother. I mean, in fact, I was going to write an introduction for his book, and he was going to write an introduction for my book years ago. You know what I mean? Decades ago. You know what I mean? So he teaches the teachers on a whole higher vibration. Now I mean, like he think holistically, universally. Now I mean, so a lot of people wouldn't understand his teaching. Now I mean, you know, but he is crack fruit to this day. Now I mean, but a lot of brothers don't necessarily go by labels and banners and rituals and places. Now I mean, when you study the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad on an in-depth level, things that are important don't really become that important to you. Like, say, for example, something like prayer. Now, I mean, I used to get up 5-7 times a day, make my wudu, tayammum, extension, gusha, whatever I had to do, take a shower. If I'm not around water in the yard, I would wash my hands with dry dust from the ground. And now, I mean, I used to be deep in all that. I had a prostration mark on my head for making rakats, always to Master. I never prayed to a mystery of Allah. I always prayed to Allah, came the person, Master Muhammad. And the Messenger taught us about Muslim prayer. So 1958, the Muslim Daily Prayer Book, I studied that. I learned it in the Arabic and the English. I wrote like a 200-page book on it, the secret reality of prayer. And once you elevate and start understanding these spiritual systems, you literally just start transforming, getting on that Master Muhammad plane. You start elevating from the physical, the emotional, the mental. You on the spiritual plane, you're gonna need this. If you're on the mental plane, you're gonna need the drill, the exercise to go over your left. But once you get into the thinking of God, when you get to the will plane, then you go past the spirit, past the soul, past yourself. You give yourself up. Like, I live, Bill, kill, and die for this. Now you're on the plane of the gods. It's like you don't think like you used to think. When you read the Messenger book, Supreme Wisdom, in 1957, and the way he's teaching, it's nothing like what he's teaching in 1974, and I'll say has arrived, his last book. He elevated his wisdom because he told us, I'll read something for y'all real quick. Again, I like to show it. Divine Sayings of the Messenger. He said, wisdom is independent of anybody. Allah has made you a teacher who sees into the depths of things. Higher wisdom forces us to think that we need more and more. That is why wisdom is infinite, because we see more and more. So, regarding the temples, I'd like to share with y'all something the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said decades ago that was right and exact when he was asked about the temples, and he taught them what the Messenger taught him. Okay. The Messenger, he was, where was he? I think he is just the Bermuda. I believe he was in Bermuda. I'm not too sure. I'm going to tell you where he said it. Okay, yeah. This is the Bermuda TV interview. So this is 7 speeches from the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, 7 of his speeches that was compiled. Page 147 regarding universities. They asked him about the physical building of the university. Like, is you going to physically build the university here? Is the nation going to build a physical university here in Bermuda? Listen carefully to the jewels he dropped about this. Answer. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says you can have a university at 3, or you can have a university under a tree, as long as what you teach pertains to the universe and its order of things. That stuck with me 40 years ago to this day. Now, I mean, we could have a university at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or we could have a university under a tree. Now, I mean, it's like Timbuktu and all that. It's like, yeah, you talking 1,000 years. Bro, that's nothing in our history, in our time. Now, I mean, people are like, oh, ancient Egypt, they ain't find it yet. I want you to understand now what they're going to find in the future. If you was to take and go under the Great Pyramid of Giza, and then go under that, 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 and go back 50,000 years ago, you will see black people had electronics, machines, technology. We were gods then, we're gods now. This is my issue. We're forgetting who we are. We're taking symbols as substance. We're taking our rituals as substance. No, those are things that had that place in the universal order of things, but the Messenger, as I showed y'all yesterday, and Elijah Meets the Press, his thing is we're not it's not gonna be run by local mosques. Remember, that's him sitting in his living room in his house. This 1972. This is him word for word telling people like, no, when I'm dead, there ain't gonna be no more temples or mosques. That's the messenger teacher. That ain't my teacher. That's his teachings. Now, will it be run by local mosques? No, no, no. After this, the whole entire nation of black people will be governed divinely, and the government will be a divine government. That's point number 12, what the Muslims wouldn't believe. I'm simply saying this is the teachings in Al-Balagh. Point number 12, we're supposed to be establishing a divine government. Now, when it comes to the temple, I'm simply saying, we already seen Honorable Minister Farrakhan explain, we can have a university at 3 or under a tree. The African baobab tree, the bark was like for medicine. I mean, they had the cotton to make clothes. You could eat from it. I mean, you could get shade from it. You get water from the vines. It's the tree of life that you read about in the Bible. This is where the elders would simply build. The elders would come under this tree, and the people sit down at their feet. Our men would go into the training. They would go into that manhood training. They would sit down and just listen to the warriors, and that's their FOI class. The MGTs, they learn that science, I mean, at the feet of the the mothers. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, like, yeah, we built Timbuktu and all that kind of stuff, but 76 trillion years ago, we didn't build temples. In the beginning, before Africa existed, before the continents even broke, we wasn't in 13 different tribes of Shabbat. There wasn't no such thing as Shabazz. All that stuff came trillions of years later. For trillions of years, each individual was the God. And collectively, we was the God. We was a God to the God in unity. I mean, so the messenger, and I'll say as Rob, page number 26 and page number 56, he teaches Allah is all of us. This is the crux of what it is that we're trying to get. The Bible basically teaches us through the people, the God is going to be realized. Let's look at those of you that have Bibles. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 16 teaches us, don't you realize that all of you united are the temple of God, that the thoughts of God is manifested by you? Here we have 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 16 teaching you that, no, yeah, you go to church, cool, all right, actions judged by intention, that's your nia, you got good intentions. Be like, I go to church. I'm not going to tell you not to go to church, go to church. But the messenger teachings is deeper than the church, or deeper than your mosque, or deeper than your temple, or deeper than your university. All right. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verses 14 and 16 teaches us, we are the temple of the living God, just as God said. Okay. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us a important theological military position. He teaches us, because we talk about temples and mosques. Short version. First of all, the Nation of Islam hasn't built temples and mosques. What we do, we pool our resources, education and qualifications for independence. So we, as poor righteous teachers, 5%ers, we put our nickels, dimes, and pennies into the pot. Now I mean, but okay, well, I'm gonna support Farrakhan, I'm gonna pay for a chair at Mosque Marianne. Now I mean, I can't afford to pay $1 million, but I can send a couple of dollars. Now I mean, to support the cause. I mean, we got e-books and e-papers, but brothers still on the corner manually selling final calls. I'm gonna patronize the brothers. I mean, be like, oh, don't pay. Nah, keep the change, brother, because I know it's going to a good cause. His niyat, he's pushing the program. I'm gonna support that. I buy the final call every time I see brothers pushing some final calls. I buy bean pies, whatever. I get the final call every time it comes out. I got it on my phone. I got the NOI app on my phone, all that kind of stuff. Now I mean, so I'm in tune and in touch with the different branches of, but the thing about it is the message teaches us, if you find a temple or mosque and they not teaching my teachings, get up and walk out the door. Meaning that the Nation of Islam biggest mosque in Chicago was headed by Imam Wafdi Muhammad in 1975. In 1976, the FOI and MGTs was in there worshiping idols. Spooked out their mind. They was making rock hots, banging their head on the floor to a mystery God. The messenger teaches like, yo, what is y'all doing? Oh, we in the Nation of Islam. We got to go to church, so we got to go to mosque, so we got to go to Jumu'ah, we got to go to class. He like, nah. If they not teaching my teachers, the raw teachers of the original divine direct teachings, as I always say, if the messenger's message that'll guide you through this age of mess is not being taught in your temple or your mosque, you're supposed to get up and walk out of there. First of all, let's look at this Bible here. Look at your Bible in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. It teaches us, you are living stones being built up into the house of God. Now, in ancient Kemet, you had two types of temples. You had what was called the cultist temples, and basically the simplified version of describing a cultist temple was a temple where the living gods worshiped and united and taught at. Then you had the mortuary temples. The mortuary temples are where the dead gods were worshipped and revered. Okay. In the Hadith, what they call Sahih or Sahih, I'm not into Hadith. I'm just saying, just showing you that this is a universal teaching. What I'm saying is not new. What the messenger said about us being a temple and in the future, how it's like going to be no more temples. All the prophets taught that. Moses did not have a synagogue. They wandering in the desert 40 years. Ain't no synagogues for the Jews. They worshiped under the sun, moon, and stars. Jesus wasn't in the church. He's sitting up on the Mount of Olives. He's sitting on a hill. He's teaching in the valley. And his thing is like, they called the people were called the called out ones, the Ecclesiastes. They were the religion. It wasn't a place. The people were the church. The church was not a building that Jesus went in and taught. Jesus himself was the church. The people were the body of Christ, or like the stones, as it says in 1 Peter, you are living stones, or we're fractions of the whole, okay? Being built up into the house of God, all right? So in Hadith 10:57-4, it teaches, pray anywhere because the whole earth is Allah's mosque, according to Prophet Muhammad, thoughts of peace be upon him. You know what I mean? In the Holy Quran, Surah 9, Ayat 107, 108, it gives us a fine line that the messenger gave us. The Holy Quran, the history of it, the short version is, some Muslims built a masjid. They wanted Prophet Muhammad to come visit their masjid and pray in it and sanctify it. Prophet Muhammad said, okay, I'll be there. I'm on the journey right now, but when I get back, I'll come pray inside the masjid. On his way, he got word like, yo, they not teaching the sunnah up in that joint. You know what I mean? So he's like, what? Oh, yeah, they teach some tricks, some bit of some confusion up in this joint. It's chaos. It's a setup. So he's like, oh, I ain't praying that joint. And he ordered his followers to burn it down. They burnt that masjid down. So the Holy Quran chapter 9 doesn't open up with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All the other chapters open up in the name of Allah, the Merciful. But notice chapter 9 doesn't do that. It explains basically like chapter 9 verse 1-7-1-8 teaches that if you find a masjid or a mosque that's not teaching the teachings of Allah, don't leave it. Don't even go in it, according to the Holy Quran. Know what I mean? The Holy Quran teaches us